Howdy folks, this is Tim Rankin at the Farm Tough channel. A lot of you have probably noticed that we just run our sheep in with our cows. So we're going to talk about that a little bit. Let's walk up here. They were kind of nervous because they were a little bit away from the cows, so as soon as they saw us, they started heading back. So you can see they just went right underneath the cow fence. We don't run any different fencing for them. We don't run any different mineral or any different water tank. They're just completely on their own. I actually didn't know that it was possible just to run sheep like this without changing anything, but it's definitely the most profitable way to run sheep because we don't have to do a thing. So a few years back, I bought these sheep and I had a milk cow, and I was just running the milk cow and her calf, and I had about 13 sheep, and they were all just in a couple electric nets. And so we were moving around the house and around the barn, but I got so busy with farm chores and the rest of the animals that I just couldn't keep up with the nets. So I was like, nah, they're not gonna go far. So then I just started fencing in the cow with single strand fence because it was way faster to put up. It was way easier to keep hot, and the sheep stayed close. And when I really noticed it was when they were by the barn. Now this was an old fallen down barn. It's not there anymore, but when they were close to the barn, the cow would go in there and it was all nice and cool in there, and the sheep would go in there too. But as soon as I moved the cow away from the sheep wouldn't sleep in the barn anymore. Even though they could easily walk back, it was only a couple 100 feet away. They were staying with the cows. So then I was like, man, I should just turn them out with the big herd. So that's what I did. I got rid of the milk cow because I had too much going, and just turned the sheep out with the big herd of cows, and we've never looked back. I mean, it's been awesome. We don't do a thing. They just run with the cows, move with the cows, stay with the cows. Now if they don't like what's out there, or the cows have eaten everything and it's getting close to moving time, now they'll come out under the fence and go find some poison ivy to eat or something. They really like poison ivy. But they won't go very far, and if anything scares them, man, they just head back for the cows as hard as they can go. We've had them get a little further away in the winter time. We were feeding some pretty junky hay to the cows, and the sheep were getting close to lambing, but the cows are still at a ways to go before they calve, so the sheep were needing a little bit more energy and nutrients, and they started getting a little further away. But that's the only time that they've got much farther than about 100 yards away from the cows. And I'm telling you, if they see a dog coming from like half a mile away, I mean, they just boogie it back to the cows as hard as they can go. They drink out of the cow tank, which is quite amazing, because we have a full-size cow tank. They do just fine. We haven't had any die from not getting water or anything. It doesn't seem to bother them at all. I've actually only seen them drink out of the cow tank about 3 times, so apparently they don't need that much water, and they drink when I'm not around. They eat the same mineral as the cows, which people have said that you're not supposed to give them the cow mineral. Now we're not giving our cows blocks of mineral like you buy at the co-op. We're giving them loose Redmond sea salt. It's mined sea salt. It's in grains like this big. We just dump that in the box. A Fertrol NutriBalancer, and then kelp. And apparently the Fertrol has enough copper that people say, hey, you can't feed that to sheep, it'll kill them. But in that great big box, they can sort through it with their nose, and we've never had a sheep die from that. They do just great. So we haven't really had any predator problems because they just come running back to the cows. And no water problems, yeah, they do great. They can eat whatever they want. They stay close to the cows. We tried this with a different flock of sheep somewhere else, and we discovered that the reason this has worked is because we trained them to be with the cow when they were in that net when I had that milk cow. So if you want to try this, be sure that you force them to be with the cows, preferably calves. They seem to get along with the calves really good. They're the same size. I think the milk cow's calf thought it was a sheep, and once they get used to staying with the herd, then just turn them loose and let them go. We have good boundary fences, so that they don't get out on the road or anything. When they come close to the house, though, we have to fence in the garden because they'll just come in the garden. But other than that, I mean, it's been awesome. It basically just, the sheep are free. Like, all the money we make off of them, we didn't really have to do anything. We can just sell them and they're good to go. And they'll be, I mean, by the fall they'll be the fattest sheep you've ever seen, and that's 100% on grass. They'll have fat like this thick. It's incredible. So that's the story behind our sheep.